Hello everyone, I am Rod and I am the game design instructor for the Academy of Entertainment Arts over at Dixie Hollands High School. If you are one of my students, it's Mr. Flowers to you, and welcome to this video tutorial. Good evening everybody. In this tutorial we're going to go over setting up a very simple jump cycle. And I have my little alien guy here, and he's adorable. Gotta love him. And all I want to do is, here's my bind pose. I'm going to make a jump cycle about, I don't know, 1 or 2 seconds long. So I have my timeline down here. It's set to 48, and I do want to have auto key on. That's this little symbol right here. Just make sure that's toggled on. It'll help our animation a little smoother. And let's just make sure that our Windows settings and preferences, we are set to settings 24 frames a second. And then our time slider here is set down back to real time 24. That way when we do our playback, it'll be pretty close to real time. And with that, I'm going to take my bind pose here. I'm going to go ahead and save this out and make sure that whenever you're modifying the bind pose of your character, to save it as something else. So this is going to be character. I'll call this one jump. So now the bind pose, of course, is saved somewhere else, and I can modify this. And the first thing I want to do is position my character in the initial key pose that he's going to be in before he does his jump. So in this case, I want him to start crouching. So my character's pelvis is probably going to start about, let's say, a little bit further down. And he's probably, as he's going to be bending, he's probably going to tilt a little forward. So I'm going to bend him down, and I'm going to tilt him forward. Going to go ahead and key that. I'm going to hit the S key. That's going to key everything. We're going to clear up the static channels in just a minute. And then I'm going to get my legs in position here. So this leg is going to be up here. And of course, we don't want our legs to sink through the ground, so I will angle my feet, or my non-existent feet, so that they are pretty close to engaging the ground as he's preparing to jump. And the arms, we're going to have those balance out as well. So let me go ahead and key my legs here. Key that one, and key this one, and key that one. Now I do have auto key on, but auto key will not set a key until I've set the first one. So I have to set at least one key before the rest set. Now let's see, as my character starts to bend, I'm going to have these arms kind of come down and backward. So like he's building some momentum here. Set that one. Now your jump cycle does not have to look exactly like mine. Your character may jump a little bit differently. But the basics are the same. You know, the center of gravity is maintained about here. My character is a bit top heavy, so really this position he would probably fall over, so I should probably adjust the pelvis a little bit more. But that'll be a okay starting position. I think I'm going to take my own advice though and rotate the pelvis back just a tad. And then I'll use the chest here to get the forward bend. Okay, so there he is as he's starting. And then as I go into my next position, And I probably don't even need all 48 frames here, so I think I'm gonna drop this down to 24 because it doesn't take us a full second to leave the ground, and we're actually gonna cheat inside the engine to maintain him in the air anyway. So we're gonna go from here, and then at some point, I'm gonna say about frame 4, he's gonna straighten out and he's gonna be going up. So let's straighten these legs out just a bit. And you can see now that since I have auto key on and a key has been set, it's automatically updating. Now I do want to keep in mind where my feet are placed because feet don't slide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a box and I'm going to snap it to my feet. To snap it, I'm going to hold down the V key, and then I'm just going to drag it to the position there. And this box really should be up on the red line here. So I'm going to press the D key. I'm going to move pivot. Right about there. And I'm moving the pivot by holding the V key and dragging the arrow. Press D again. I'm going to hold down the X key and snap that to the top here. I'm going to drag that forward on the foot. That's about where my foot is. I don't want it to deviate too much from here. And that's going to be true for both of my feet, since I had them pretty close to being lined up in that area. So if I go back to frame 1 here, just want to make sure that these boxes are aligned with my feet. And all I'm doing is using this as a reference point. So as I'm moving the character, the feet are not sliding on the ground. And I will select both of these boxes here. I'll put them on a layer, so I'll create layer from selected, and then I'll just set them to reference. So actually I'll set them to template. That way I have the outline and I can kind of see what I'm doing. Okay. So now on frame 4, when I jump back in, you can see that my foot has moved a bit. So what that means is when I move my character, I need to move him so that the feet are positioned appropriately. So that means that the pelvis actually has to move up a bit. So from my side view, I'm going to move this up. Move that forward. Same thing with this bottom leg here, or this my other leg. I'm going to straighten that one out and grab that one. Whoops. Now if I hide those boxes and I scrub through, we should have the push off, and our legs should not slide off the floor. They should look like they're kind of biting in and pushing out, which seems to be the case. Pretty okay there. Now it's just a matter of getting my arms. So from here to there we have that push. These arms of course are going to swing forward now, and his body's going to straighten out. So these arms swinging forward. Now my arms could have more of a rotation, right now it looks like they're swinging forward rather than like going down and coming up. But I have a limited rotation on the number of joints that I have here, so I'm not really gonna worry too much. If I wanted to, I could set a frame in the middle here to facilitate that rotation. So, for example, I could push them down some, like that. So it looks more like they go from here and then forward. Good enough. And then from here, I need to get that spine. That should be straightening up at this point. So from this frame to frame 5 or 6, it's going to be pretty instantaneous, or leaving the ground. And we'll just have to play with the positioning, but I'm going to go ahead and go to frame. I think we're going to be good at frame 5. And this is where he's going to be off the ground, in the air. And now I need my legs to be doing up. We'll pretend like the momentum's being carried, so he's going to leap a little bit. I'm going to turn him just a tad. And these legs are going to look like they've sprung down more. Take those arms up a little bit more because reasons. And then after he's in the air, we're going to go to the next frame where this is going to be our falling frame. So this is the leap into the air, and now we're going to be sort of falling and waiting for the ground. So I'm going to push the legs forward on frame 6. Probably going to be looking down because he's waiting to fall. Gonna zero these ones back out. And that'll be him while he's falling. Now, a thing to know when you're going into the game engine, you do not actually need to record a frame where he's leaving the ground like this. Okay, so you don't need to record the frame where his pelvis is actually off of the ground in mid-flight. You can leave him, so you can have it from here, and this part's fine. And then right around frame 5 where he actually leaves, you can keep the pelvis height about the same and let the engine do the carrying for you. That's just an option. You don't actually need him to be in the air because the game engine will handle the whole floating part for us. And you can see that I actually only needed to use these frames here because once I get to this point, this frame will be in the air frame inside the engine, and this frame is going to be falling inside the engine. And then this part it'll hold this frame until you hit the ground, and then it'll run this sequence backwards like that. So you'll have this leaping, and then it'll look like it's falling, and then it'll hit the ground, he'll go bam, like he's cushioning himself. So we can use that same animation twice. Okay? In the next tutorial, I'll show you how to put this into the game engine, and you'll be able to see what it all looks like in sequence. Go ahead and save this for now, and I will see you guys in the next video.